I wanted to first of all start off by saying congratulations on the film. I watched it yesterday and I really, really connected with it on a deep level, which I'm sure that's what you were going for, Mark, when you wrote the script.
Yeah,
I was hoping for that. Yeah, that's great to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I'm sure a lot of people can connect with it in various different aspects. It's very sort of it's written in such a way that I felt it's the right level of ambiguous in a lot of sense. For me personally, I connected to it with the main theme of the film of death through personal bits and bobs that have happened over the last 12 to 24 months. So that's what got me. But I think a lot of people can connect with the family aspect, especially through the film's main star, little Bodhi, absolute superstar.
Pain Stealer.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark, when writing the script, how important was it for you with this really sensitive but important subject material? How important was it for you to get it right as a writer and as a director?
It's always important for me. I just strive for truthfulness as much as possible in my work. I like vulnerability, and I like things that feel raw and on the edge and just truthful. You can't deny truth. When you see it on screen, it immediately resonates with you on an emotional level. And I think it really unlocks the exchange that can happen. So yeah, it's so important to me. It's so important going into anything that I'm setting out to create, to, I guess, yeah, to get it right, and yeah, my intentions were really clear with making this film. I wanted people to experience like a positive meditation on death, have it be a bit more of an active experience as opposed to kind of this thing that just happens suddenly, and wanted to explore that a bit. And yeah, and I guess do right by it, try and do justice by this thing that we all go through in life and have all our various different experiences with loss, and do it justice, is really important for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and you absolutely nailed it. I mean, what I really loved about this as well was the fact that nobody wants to have to explain death and loss to a small child, and you didn't shy away from that, because like I said, it's a really important thing to explain to them, but it's about finding the right time and the right circumstances. How was that for you? Obviously, doing something so intimate and emotionally deep with Bodhi. How was that explaining to him how this was all going to work?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like Bodhi, even though he was so young when we made the film, he had already had experiences on film sets. And he was and is such a bright, beautiful, open soul, that I knew he had it in him. And I really was, there's almost like this protective layer for him and his experience in the film, because it's all built around him in so many ways, in a child's mind and the way a child's mind works, and in wanting to honor his real true to life experience, I ended up in a way creating a way that just really kept him safe, and he very much knew we were making a movie, and he started to develop his own way of giving a performance. And this is hilarious. It's come to this. the stroller with Poet in there. This is so funny because she's she's supposed to be asleep. I was supposed to put her to sleep before these.
Yeah.
And then she
in a classic like Zoom interview gone wrong, she just came walking out of that back door back there, like with the like tired hair. But anyway, yeah, so that I like it was really amazing to go on this journey with my son, with my family, you know, and watch Bodhi give a performance and become accustomed to what it's like to be on a set and to do a bit of work, you know. Was a very cool thing to do, and be able to give.
I bet he had an absolute ball on set. I bet it was such a great experience for him. There
was definitely, you reminded me of some of his highlights. The best was the candy in the forest, because like we just sat there and ate so many donuts.
They were all real. Everything you saw was real. And they had been created by like a chocolatier or whatever. And like he was eating these like blue fizz pops and his whole mouth would be blue. He was like, this is like Hansel and Gretel, but without the witch.
I love that as well. A lot of people don't realize, because I'm actually an independent filmmaker myself, a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to eating scenes, like people don't just, it takes a lot of a lot of takes, a lot of food is consumed, so it's not all as easy as it is.
I always feel like as an actor, I now know, because I used to really love like the idea of just kind of like eating in scenes and stuff, because that's what people do. But now I think as an actor, you know not to do that, because you end up eating so much. So now I'll just take one tiny bite and pretend that I have more in my mouth, because you're just going to be eating in the entire day.
It's like scenes when you're cutting up like a roast dinner or something. You have to cut it into tiny pieces and go like, oh yeah, I'm taking a big bite.
Totally.
You so you said how great it was to work with your family, and I think that, and you can probably agree with this, that I think probably working with your family is equally, it allows for such a raw and real performance, but it also probably is challenging, but in a good way. And I think as well, using that your characters having your names is something that it's been done in various other genres within film. Like Blair Witch obviously use their names, but I think allowing the audience to connect to you as actors through your characters because of having your real names is another added layer of emotion.
Thank you. No, I there's a lot that we're playing with there for sure, trying to definitely push the limits with realism and how we experience the experiences that we have when we watch film. I love great movies, and I also love movies that just give you a different experience. There's a little something else extra to it, and I try to put myself in the shoes of an audience member, and I try to make the types of films that I would like to see, and I love things like that, where there's an added element of like, oh wait, this is a real family that did this, or this is based on this thing that actually happened to this person, and this person's never acted before, or this person is editing and shooting and did the costume design as well as direct. So I love working in this way. I love kind of exploring and trying to dig deeper and create new experiences in making movies.
I think as well, like a lot of people, obviously I knew going in of your actual relationship with each other, your whole family. But I think a lot of people, might go into this not knowing, and then sort of naturally experiencing that natural chemistry, and then maybe thinking, oh, this is just because they're really talented actors, but then realizing that it's that plus that deeper bond. Yeah, it must have been such a absolutely fantastic experience. Teresa, I was going to say, I asked Mark just when you popped out the room.
Yeah.
So kind of a similar question, but how important was it to you as an actor to get this right because of the sensitive subject material?
Yeah, I think I felt a huge responsibility to play a woman who is navigating, two things at the same time, like very sort of polarizing things. You're trying to maintain a semblance of normality in your household as you raise children, and you want to ensure that environment still feels safe. And then she's also dealing with she's also dealing with like saying goodbye to her love, and sort of the breakdown of this relationship because of this illness, and grappling with grief. And I think I ended up watching a lot of YouTube video diaries. There were a number of women that I found online who would talk about their experiences. They were either going through cancer treatments themselves, or their partners were, and just kind of watching the swinging pendulum of emotions. I wanted to try and capture that, to have those moments of pure joy, and when we were together and having those light-hearted moments where we're giggling about Uranus or whatever it is, and then just the overwhelming grief of seeing my love go through such a profound experience, and that transition to the other side. So there was responsibility that I felt, but also just to my husband to not let him down. I was shooting A Discovery of Witches at the same time.
Yeah.
And I would go from shooting that throughout the week, and I would get in a car that same night on a Friday, and I would drive 6 hours to Snowdonia.
Oh, wow.
To arrive and shoot on a Saturday and a Sunday, and then drive 6 hours back to shoot Monday through Friday on A Discovery of Witches. And I did that for a month, and it was exhausting. So I just, but I really felt like I needed to just be on point for him and make sure I was beneath the character and understood the words, and and that my ad-libbing was was making sense in the in the context of the story, because he is great. Like, he's very, as a director, it's quite liberating, because he gives you, he says, like, here's your playground, this is the playground, and you can go play on it, but these are the parameters of the scene, and just sort of mold it the way you want to mold it. And that was quite freeing as a performer. So I really appreciated that. And I hadn't had that experience. The last time I'd had that experience was when I worked with Terrence Malick on Knight of Cups, who also did a similar thing. So it reminded me of that process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head. A lot of time when it comes to what I found myself as a filmmaker is sort of setting those parameters, but allowing the performer to play to their strengths and allow them to develop the character naturally. And I think with something like this that is so raw and so real and so grounded in reality, with that fantastical element seen through a child's eyes, I think it's so important for adding that extra layer, and you absolutely nailed it. And speaking of seeing things through a child's eyes, I really found the way it was sort of fragmented up and pieced together was actually quite a lot of the times when filmmakers do something like that, it can be very disjointed, but it worked so well with this because we are seeing it through Bodhi's eyes, and I can only imagine what a young child has to do in their brain to process this sort of information. So it sort of, it really blended in well with the subject, to sort of have Bodhi going through all these different emotions and flashbacks and seeing these memories and remembering his dad in a different way. It just it worked well, whereas normally that wouldn't work as well as it did.
Yeah, I think the kids tend to like compartmentalize things purely from a survival instinct. So I felt the same way. I was like, I didn't find it arresting. I found it really interesting, and it makes sense that this is how he perceives the experience. And I love that because I actually haven't seen that before through the eyes of a 3-year-old child. So it was really beautiful how it all came together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know how much time I have left with you, but I just wanted to once again say massive congratulations on the film. It got its initial release about 2 years ago, so it's been quite the 2 years to get to this point where it's got a much wider release.
Yeah, initially, because it premiered at Tribeca in 2019.
Oh, fantastic!
But just October was like the official release in the States, so I'm happy that it's finally coming out in your neck of the woods, and I'm so happy that you connected with it. It means a lot to me, to us, you know.
No, you're welcome. No, thank you for creating such a unique experience. Like I said, a lot of people can connect to it in various different ways. They can get something out of it, which I think is so important in no matter what genre you do. Sort of giving the audience a push, but a gentle push, and allowing their interpretation to guide them along the narrative is something that I think as I've written more and more, I've sort of understood that a lot more as well, and that's why I think a lot of these films I connect with even more than others will. But it's brilliant stuff. I can't wait for more people to see it, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you because I'm fans of your work. I know probably a lot of people say this to you, Mark, but Scott Pilgrim is one of my favorite films.
Yes, no, no, it's been so cool too with just like how it's come out again. You know, it feels like
it's 10th anniversary was last September. I think
jokes it's the longest 10th anniversary because it's technically now it's 11 years because of the COVID and we waited, but it's an extraordinary feeling I've never had that happen with a film, you know, to have something come out and to know like this is special, and to just see the life that it's had, and now, you know, to have a movie
got such a cult following.
Yes, it's huge.
Yeah. I saw it
it's
3
really rare
times
to be
in
in a
theaters.
film that you can watch as like a fan, like that you're in, but you can watch it and enjoy it as a fan is so trippy, you know. I'm like, I watch the movie and I don't even realize that like I'm in it, which is funny. That's how much I love it. So
that's I watched the you did the read through last year. I watched that and just loved seeing everyone back together again. I really sort of connected with that because I saw the film 3 times in theaters. So
that's amazing. You're amazing. That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, and it's one of those special things. Yeah, it was so great to see everybody too. And so much of us we're all like friends for life, you know. And
I love that.
Yeah, it's really special when that can happen. I'm so happy, and it just came out again in theaters, in the theater there in the UK.
Yeah. Scott, if your life had a face, I would punch it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Teresa, I was just going to say as well. Another thing that really that I was really pleased to see is how much of a range you have, because I've seen your previous work as well. I'm a big fan of Lights Out. Really like Lights Out.
Cool.
I love that since the short came out. So when I saw that David was doing the feature, that was great, and seeing you in that was fantastic. And Berlin Syndrome was gripping as all hell. I love that. So yeah, just you've been in such a variety of genres, which I think for both of you, that sort of shows your talent and your range. And I think that's really important for actors and creators to be comfortable in doing so many different genres, because you know, a lot of people can get typecast, but no, it just shows your range and your passion as a performer to try new things and everything. So yeah, it's been an absolute honor talking to you. How much longer have you?
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yes. Is there anything that you can share with what you're working on, either of you? I appreciate, obviously, if you can't say anything.
Well, I just watched the trailer today for a film that I did with a European filmmaker, a Finnish filmmaker called Tinelli Mustonen. And I'm really psyched about it. It's called The Twin.
Okay.
And it's having its presentation at the Cannes Film Festival. So I saw the trailer for it, and I am incredibly excited about it.
Fantastic.
It's a horror. It's another horror, which I love.
Looks really cool.
But it's really the character that I'm most excited about, because it's a woman who's going through grief surrounding the loss of one of her twins, twin boys. And there's some really exciting, interesting twists and turns, and there's just so much depth to the character that it was, for me, it was a performance piece that I'd been craving.
Yeah.
But then to see it all together today in the trailer just reinvigorated my passion and my excitement for the project. So that will be coming out.
That's fantastic.
I don't know, this year, next year, who knows?
I'm just looking on Wikipedia again. I don't know how true that is, but it says that it's being distributed by Shudder, so it'll probably get its Shudder release over here probably later this year. But
yes,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, the script
cool.
was so gripping. The script was unbelievable. So it was just one of those ones where I said, no matter what, I'm doing this. So we went to Estonia, and I went and shot it for about 6 weeks. But yeah, it's the filmmaker's a genius, and so is the DP. So I'm excited for that one.
Fantastic. And is the trailer online right now, or is that something you got like a preview of?
No, I just saw the preview of it. It was like a confidential preview that they're presenting at Cannes. So they sent it round, and I was very excited this morning, wasn't I?
It's good. It's really good. Yeah.
Fantastic. I look forward to that then. Absolutely. And Mark, what can you share, if anything?
I've just finished my next project, just writing. I'm not saying anything about it yet. Okay. I'm dying to. I can't wait to
He hasn't. I don't even know what it's about.
She doesn't even know what it's about. It's been the last couple of years of my life, but I'm extremely excited. I've been really inspired for the last few years and putting this thing together, and excited to make another one.
Where do we go when we die?
Where do you think we go?